Thank you. And with that, we have the last word that comes in from the opposition, Mr. Sanjay Jha.
Lalita, you were complaining that you overlooked. Kunal actually completely forgot me, so you're still better off than I was. Okay? And by the way, it's very nice of you to make this passionate, rhetorical, speech about Netaji Bose, because you know that he was a legend and it will have an emotional connect with the audience. But I will complete the story for you. Netaji Subhash Chandra Bose had contempt, he despised and he hated people with a communal mindset. Let's put that on record today, Kolkata. That this is the greatness of Netaji Subhash Chandra Bose. And we need to kind of rise up for him beyond our little petty parochial considerations. The very important point, my friend Sanjeev, I have great respect for him. I don't agree with his economics maybe. But he said that I said that the House doesn't deserve to debate this topic. You know why? That was a sardonic dig at this team, because my objection with the panel on the right side is the fact that they don't want to improve history. They want to distort it. And there's a big difference between the two. It's like when you have a puncture, when you have a flat tire, you want to fix the tire. They want to remove the wheels. I'm sorry. That's not the way history works. We have a responsibility towards the young of India. We have a responsibility towards an impressionable India that is being ruined by negative propaganda, distorted misinformation, and the worst thing that can happen is if you begin to influence them by giving them extremely, what I call as malafide education at the elementary school level. We should worry about that. The other point that Mr. Sanyal mentioned was that when I talked about the ridiculous, preposterous, atrocious, absurd, ludicrous, I can give you some more synonyms, ladies and gentlemen, that Gandhi ji committed suicide, he said no. Well, I just said in my talk earlier that I accuse my team of fake news. It is there in the newspapers. You can Google it on your mobile phones right now. Did Gandhi ji commit suicide? It's a whole report, 13th or 14th of October 2019, covered by every mainstream media. I actually debated that on a TV channel, so I know what I'm talking about. Okay? So fake news, ladies and gentlemen, is not going to happen here. The other point, and perhaps the best illustration of what I call is deception. They built the tallest statue of Sardar Patel. And you know what they say? Because Sardar Patel was having differences with Pandit Nehru. You know what? Can you imagine leaders like Netaji Bose, Maulana Azad, Sardar Patel, Netaji, Pandit Nehru and Gandhiji not having differences in terms of how India should be liberated? Does that mean they hated each other? This is the worst malicious, malignant propaganda you can ever hear. So I want to tell you, Sardar Patel banned the RSS. Kunal, I'm done. Sardar Patel banned the RSS. You should read Sardar Patel's letters to Pandit Nehru. And he said they distributed sweets when Gandhiji died. The truth, ladies and gentlemen, does not change. You can change the history, ladies and gentlemen. If you're in power, you can. But let me tell you, that does not change the reality that truth always remains truth. Thank you very much.
And your version of the truth, Anand.
Mr. Chairperson, there are no versions of the truth. There is only truth. There is no Rashomon. Let me go one by one because there's quite a lot of material our opposing side has provided us. Sanjay is a very dear friend, but he reminded me of Guido in Fellini's 8½, who said, I have nothing to say, but I'll say it anyway. I mean, in fact, he agreed with our proposition. I'm ashamed. I'm kind of embarrassed. And he talks of Bose. Sanjay, do you know who snooped on Netaji Subhash Chandra Bose and his family for 30, 40 years? Do you know that it wasn't until 2019 that INA members were allowed to take part in Republic Day parade? What are you talking about? Shouldn't these facts be known? And who? Who snooped? Yes, Jawaharlal Nehru. Of the excellent Shankar Aiyar, his arguments are like expired poison. You are left wondering whether it is more poisonous or less poisonous. I mean, he accuses me of narrating a litany of complaints about Nehru banning books and films. Well, he is a writer. He has written, albeit contentious, a lot of books. How would he feel if Modi banned all his books? Would he not want people to know that Modi has banned his books? Would film writers not want to know that Nehru banned their books or their films? Or jailed writers, jailed authors, jailed Majru Sultanpuri because he called Nehru as Hitler ka chela? And one of the other speakers, I'll come to him abhi, sabka hisab hai. He said, he talked about, Nehru ke liye complaint kar rahe ho, Nehru ko tyrant keh rahe ho, dekho Modi kya kar. Is that the argument? Two wrongs make a right? By the way, I also have a list where this present government has been stomping on freedom of speech and expression. I do. And I am the first one to shout from the rostrum saying that UAPA charges have been leveled, people have been arrested. But this gentleman did not talk about how in this West Bengal, Mamata Di has also arrested people on charges of sedition, on charges of UAPA. That he will not tell, but I'll come to that later. I'll come to my another good friend Manish. His arguments were excellent, except for the beginning, the middle, and the end. He quoted Churchill. Now, I am not one to quote the racist Churchill because it's not politically correct, but let me quote because he did. Incidentally, he was wrong on the number of Bengalis who died of famine. There were 4.3 million. He should know his facts, but then they are from the other side. But, Churchill said, an empty taxi rolled into 10 Downing Street and Chamberlain got out. He reminded me of that. Now let me come very finally, I have very few time left, I'm sure I'll get 30 more seconds, of Mr. Jawahar Sarkar. He managed to pack in so many lies in 7 minutes. It is entirely fitting that he's a member of parliament. I do not have time, in fact I'm running out of time, but I beg for 30 more seconds because I need to expose just 4 of his lies. Number 1, this 15 lakh thing about Modi is absolute fake news. Modi never said that he will transfer 15 lakhs into everyone's account. He never said it. This is fake news. Number 2, I knew he wanted to draw on the audience, and it was a very conceited ploy to mention church attacks. Does he know that that was the first fake narrative of 2014? That it later transpired that all those churches that were attacked were actually arson and looting, and more churches had the same fate under UPA than NDA? He did not say that. Number 3, he talked of Buddhism. Does he know that Ashoka was Buddhist already for 4 years before he went into Kalinga war and killed millions? Does he know that? We don't know this. Nobody knew this except Sanjeev Sanyal's book when I read it. Number 4, he talked about Savarkar not supporting Quit India. Sure. Does he know that Ambedkar said to support Quit India is insane? Gandhi is a prophet of dark age. And finally, you must allow me, I beg you, he talked of Manusmriti. Sure, burn it, Mr. Sarkar. I'll be the first one, although I don't want burning. I don't like burning books, but burn Manusmriti. But I ask you, if you have the guts, you will answer. What do you want to do with the book that says polytheists, i.e. Hindus, are the worst of creatures, 98.6? That men have control over women and then can beat them, 434. That if you don't believe in our verses, you will rot in hell. That women are tilling fields. Go on to them as you like.
Thank you, Anand.
What do you want to do with that book?
Thank you, Anand.